My name's Tim Board and I'm a hip surgeon at Wrightington Hospital in Lancashire. I'm also the chair of the British Hip Society Research Committee. This is a presentation to introduce you to the Priority Setting Partnership in Problematic and Revision Hip Replacements, and I present this on behalf of our steering group. You will have already heard about the James Lind Alliance and Priority Setting Partnerships from Tricia in the previous video. We're very grateful to our funders for this PSP, the British Hip Society, the John Charnley Trust, the British Orthopaedic Association, the Devon Orthopaedic Trust, and the Bristol Orthopaedic Trust. We're also fantastically grateful to all of you who've responded to our surveys. So, as background to revision hip replacements, we know that about 100,000 people in the UK every year have a hip replacement, and around 10,000 people have further surgery or revision hip replacement every year. There are also a number of patients who have problems after their hip replacements that don't end up requiring surgery, but do have other treatments. Common reasons for further surgery and problems include dislocation, loosening of the implants, pain, fracture, or infection around the hip. The British Hip Society instigated this PSP to identify the priorities for research in this field. And the fantastic thing about the JLA and the process is that it not only includes patients, but also their families, nurses, carers, therapists, surgeons, and really anybody who's involved in the care of these patients. So what did we do and how did we get there? Well, it started with creating a steering group, and we created our steering group and had our first meeting in June 2021. And I'm enormously grateful to all of the members of the steering group, without which this wouldn't have been possible to get where we are today. One of our first jobs was to create the first survey, and our first survey was really to gather evidence of uncertainties in this particular field. The survey was released in March 2022 and closed in September 2022. We received just over 200 questions from 97 respondents. As you can see here, there was a reasonably balanced split in respondents between healthcare professionals and people with hip replacements and carers and their family members. Following this, Christina Staley did a fantastic amount of work reviewing all of the individual responses and grouped these into themes and produced summary questions to reflect the original questions. This gave us a list of 31 summary questions, which were then discussed at length by the steering group and ultimately approved by the group. Hiren Devecha, Josh Lamb, Asim Khan and myself then checked all of these questions against published literature to ensure that none of these questions had already been answered by research. These questions then went through to our second survey, which was an initial prioritization survey. And in this survey, we asked respondents to pick 10 questions that they felt were most important to them. We received 197 responses to this second survey, and then we proceeded with the data analysis. Following extensive data analysis, we then ranked all of the questions in the different groups, and we took the top 10 of each respondent category, and these were reviewed by the steering group, and then 19 questions encompassing all of these top 10s were taken forward to the final workshop that will be held on the 14th of September. I'd like to thank you all for taking part in the final workshop, and you really will be helping to set out the pathway to research in this field for the future. Thank you very much.